So, welcome everyone, and thank you for your interest in this particular program, Trauma Informed Coach Level 1. And we wanted to get together today and just welcome you here and try to answer some of the questions that you might have around your interest in Level 1. And please feel free to ask. And this is really just about helping you try to decide if this is the right path. So, what I'd like to do is just invite everyone to take a few moments and come to this space. If you feel like taking a few nice deep breaths, we often like to open our classes, if you are in them, by just taking a moment and coming to this space and being in the here and now and really recognizing the energy that we're putting into this particular project called Level 1. And I'm just going to invite you to take a nice deep breath and just relax into that and have a nice big exhale. And take another nice deep breath and just relax into your seat as you open up for information to be able to digest and think about the next steps and what questions you may have. And I'll invite you just to be able to be in that space of calm, relax as we move throughout the information that we want to share with you today. So I will go ahead and start the process for us. Let's look at this. Oh, yes, you're not going to work now. Well, I can do it this way. Look at me. So what I want to do is just say in our welcome note, I have a couple of people that I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Brad Hardy, and I am a co-founder and director of education here at Moving the Human Spirit. I'm an MCC, which means a Master Certified Coach. I'm also a trauma-informed coach, certified in several different areas, relationships, groups, compassionate leadership, and I'm a certified trauma counselor. And I have my business partner and co-founder, Susan Hogarth, with me today. You'll see her here on the screen, relaxing. Go ahead, Sue.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Actually, I'm taking a look at some of these names, and I have spoken with a few of you, and I see some of you are still in my follow-ups. So, yay. Like Brad, I am the co-founder of Moving the Human Spirit. Brad and I met back in 2010 and created Moving the Human Spirit in 2014 or 2013. So I am PCC, trauma informed certified, and certified trauma counselor as well.
Beautiful. And also, I'd just like to have Nicole chime in here. She's our enrollment advisor. She's a master certified coach. She's also trauma informed certified, as we are. And Nicole, I'll just let you say hello.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Glad to see some of my learners here as well, and welcome to everyone else. And thank you, Brad.
Yeah, you are welcome. So what I wanted to do is just give a couple of things as a base here for us, a foundation moving forward. Some of you may or may not know. This is a bit about Moving the Human Spirit's vision. We are global leaders in trauma-informed coach certification. We were the world's first ICF, International Coaching Federation is what the ICF stands for. We were the first ICF accredited trauma-informed coaching course and courses after the fact. We got our first trauma-informed coaching course. It's been a good 6, 7 years ago, and we have been trying to lead in that particular area. So we were quite happy that the International Coaching Federation chose to work with us in getting accreditation. It was something that coaches were never spoken to do, is work in trauma. And our rebuttal was that if they were not able to do that, then the clients that we work with were missing part of what we could give them as coaches, and that is support within the trauma lens and trauma informed. And of course, the other thing that we do is we actively work with trauma survivors. We have special projects around the world, some in Nigeria, some in Quebec. We're working with several people. We work with companies in Europe as well. So we're quite proud of that, but we also hold a trauma survivor group through the Wounded Warriors Canada, and that is working with the first responders, military, firefighters, police, RCMP. Had to remember my list of things. So we're quite pleased about that, and if I seem a bit proud by it, it's because I am. It's something that I feel very passionate about, and it's a pretty special thing for me personally, and certainly Susan and Nicole and Ashley, the people that we work with. So what trauma-informed coaching is? So trauma-informed coaching is this ability to account for trauma without treating it. What we do is we do not diagnose, we do not treat, we're non-clinical. So we like to stay in that wheel well, if you will. So we are here to understand and work with people who have had traumatic imprint and to be able to do it without uh, re-traumatizing, which is so important in the work that we do. The other thing that we do within the trauma-informed coaching is we really prioritize a safe, trusting environment where people have agency and choice. The one thing that we work quite a bit on is bringing people back from a state of woundology or victimization and bringing them more to a state of choice and agency. And we do that within a safe environment. The other thing that we do, and you may have noticed some of Nicole's talks lately, her blogs were focusing in on integrating nervous system awareness. And Nicole's been talking a bit about that in some of her What If Wednesday blogs. So if you're interested in reading a bit more about that, please go ahead and do it on our website. And what we're doing is we're really looking at the body, the mind, and the spirit, if you will. So we're looking at the whole body, how it interacts, how the brain interacts with the other parts of our body. We're not just walking heads. So we're really looking at how we make those connections, especially in a trauma-informed way. Because sometimes people feel like what happens to them, they have no control over. And the reality is that it's the body's way of coping with the environments that it finds itself in. And we spend a lot of time in neuroscience and looking at the nervous system and how it impacts us as humans and the environments that we find ourselves in. And the other great thing about the work that we do is that we do not tend to labor in the past. We are very future focused and goal oriented. And as a result of that, what we're doing is we're building foundations for people who have had traumatic imprint to be able to move forward in their life in a way that says, I am adapting. We're not trying to erase what happens. We don't have that capability. If we did, then I'd probably be on another talk today somewhere else. So what we do is we really work with people from where they are in the present moment and move them forward in their lives in an adaptive way. So again, I just want to reiterate this, and you might see me talk about it a couple of times in our talk today. I'm going to leave plenty of time for questions. I just want to point out what trauma-informed coaching is not. So trauma-informed coaching is not trauma processing. And it's not therapy or diagnosis. That's not what we do as trauma-informed coaches. It's not story excavation either. We may work in narratives, but it's to create new stories. It's not about exploring and excavating the story that already happened. And I say that because the one thing that I know in my work is that I can't change the past. And we talk to our students all the time about that. We don't work on what we cannot change. We work on what we can change. And the other thing that we don't do is pushing emotional disclosure. We have to let clients have the space and time and the facilitation with us to be able to work through at their pace what's coming up for them, how it's showing up, what environments it shows up in, and how we can work to strengthen the coping mechanisms that help them move forward, again, in an adaptive manner. So some people are asking a little bit these days of us why this conversation matters now. And I know that some of our friends to the south, given the circumstances that we're going through, but not only that, also globally, we're seeing quite an impact. So we're seeing stuff like rising burnout. We're seeing a lot of dysregulation, or I should say regulation that is not welcomed. And what that is coping mechanisms, nervous systems being overloaded. We're also seeing things like collective trauma and prolonged uncertainty. We're in a place in our world right now that there is a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of balls in the air, if you will. So we're starting to see that. We're seeing how it affects people. Old coping mechanisms coming to the surface, childhood coping mechanisms coming to the surface, collective trauma. We're also looking at neurodiversity and identity-based stress. And those are some of the things that we are seeing in our work now. So really thinking about how we can help impact those for the positive, how we can move people forward in a way that is more adaptive to the environments that they find themselves in. And the other thing, of course, is that coaching has always worked with emotional intensity. It just so happens that we've seen quite a bit or a bigger impact of emotional intensity ever since COVID. So I appreciate that. I see the fear factor that came with a global pandemic. I saw some of the maladaptive behaviors that we had brought forward from when we were children. And that makes total sense to me because the organism only has one project, and that is to keep us alive. So it does just about anything in order to make that happen. And for that, we should be grateful that our body has that positive intention. So enough about those pieces leading up to this. What I'd like to start talking about now and why you're here is what you'll learn in level one. So just as a topper, you'll learn how trauma and stress show up in coaching, how to recognize activation and shutdown. So we'll really be looking at the polyvagal theory and also the window of presence and how that shows up and how we can start working with it. You'll learn how to pace sessions ethically. And that might sound like something you feel like you know now, but one of the things that we really practice is how to be able to pace, how to be able to get out of our heads, work with the client and understand that they're in control of this session and to let it move at a pace that's going to be suitable for them. We know that sometimes traumatic imprint can change the chemistry of our brain, how we interact with other people. Brain fog comes into place. We really want to be attentive to how we pace our sessions. So that also holds trust and safety for our client as we move through it. The beautiful piece about what we'll be doing is how to ask questions without overwhelming clients. So really having a sensory on how we can deliver questions, how we can evoke awareness and create change without overwhelming the client themselves. And that's so important in the work that we do. We also will understand how to contract and recontract when capacity shifts. And that's really important in coaching sessions. What we want to be able to do is dance with the client. We don't want to control the session. So if we get to a place where they're wanting to move in another direction, we want to be able to train people to be able to move in that with the client so that they're still going toward the goal that they set or reset within the session itself. And that might sound like it's not important at the beginning, but once you get into coaching, you'll understand that those are some of the nuances that we do that make this quite different. And I say that in respect to trauma-informed and how we coach. Some of the things that you'll do within the course, again, will be practicing these things, creating safety without rescuing. That's huge for me. I talk about it quite a bit in our work. A lot of the times people come as caregivers, all of us. That's why you're here today. That's why you showed up. There's a piece of you that wants to give back. And sometimes what comes with that is this routine where we want to rescue, control, or satisfy what our client needs in the moment. And we want to create these safe places without rescuing. And the reason we don't want to rescue people is because we want them to be self-sustainable. We want them to leave the session and to be able to understand their capacities, how their nervous system works, and where they are the most capable to move forward. And if we give them the answers, then we're basically saying that they're not capable of doing those things. So I'm very strong on that particular piece when we're teaching. We're not here to rescue or save. We can't do that. We don't have that capacity. We can't change the past. The other thing we're doing is maintaining presence during emotional intensity, and that's something that we practice throughout our course. We want to be able to be familiar with sitting in some places that may feel uncomfortable. We're shining light in some very dark holes sometimes, and to be able to sit there and stay in observer position without actually climbing down the ladder is really important for us. Unless you're really good at grabbing the hind legs of a rabbit as they go down those rabbit holes, then by all means. But what we want to do is really be able to set with emotional intensity and understand it as a human condition. It's not broken, it's not wrong, it's just where we're at in this moment. The other thing we do is work with boundaries and consent. Everything that we do within our coaching comes from invitation. So what we're doing is we're asking for consent, and we're working within the boundaries not only of the client themselves, but in the boundaries that we're capable of holding for ourselves. And that's really important for us to understand the differences. We design actionable, aligned with capability. So we're looking at what is capable, and we're looking at how the action that the client wants, or the desired change, we call it, what desired change do they want? And we're really looking at if it's aligned with their capability to be able to move forward. And we think about it from a very realistic point of view. So again, we're really looking at the client as a whole. We're asking questions of them. We're figuring out their capability, and we're going to work with them to align the actions that they want to perform with their capabilities. And to me, that really sets them up for a win-win. And of course, the other thing that we do, we stay within coaching scope, the scope coach, coach scope. So that's really important for us. So we're accredited by the International Coaching Federation. As a result of that, of course, we are guided by the ethical standards. We are guided by the core competencies of the ICF. And the International Coaching Federation is there to make sure that we move professionally throughout all of our work and that we train people in a professional manner. And what's great about that is that if you do work with organizations outside of your private practice after you become a coach, lots of them will look for the ICF accreditation of your program and the ICF certification of you as a coach. And why that's important is because there is a standard that any organization can look at and say, I know that this person has reached the standards of ICF. So I do think that that's a benefit to us. It certainly assisted us in our professional training when it came to work with wounded warriors. They were very adamant that they needed to have accreditation in what we were learning and certification by what we were doing. And again, we have several conversations throughout and invite those quite a bit within the ethics of a felt sense, and that's clear coaching versus therapy boundaries, knowing when to slow down or pause, having that ability to really understand. We're also based in referral awareness. We go through things such as when to refer, how to refer, and that's always a nuance within the trauma-informed lens and how our environments have been changing over the years. So really just having a referral awareness and how to speak. We also look at reduced fear of doing harm. One of the things that people do, why they come to us, why they want to get certified is because they don't want to do harm. And our course is based on the reality that we hold people capable, but we also work within the nuances of not harming or re-traumatizing the clients that we are dealing with. And that's really important. It's one of the reasons we wanted to produce this program so that we had more coaches that were aware of how to work in trauma-informed and to be able to do it without harming or re-traumatizing the clients that they were working with. wonderfully important. So let's break down the components of the Level 1 certification. We have Trauma-Informed Coaching Basics, which is the beginning. We have Trauma-Informed Coaching Advanced, which is where the basics is where we learn to become a coach. The advanced is where we really dive in to trauma-informed and some techniques that we use. And then we have another piece called the mentoring. And the mentoring is where you are guided through classes, and you will learn from a mentor how to conduct yourself in a session based on the standards of the International Coaching Federation and the core competencies with the ethical guidelines of coaching, but also with the intent to pass your ACC final assessment and apply to the ICF for your certification. So let's look at them a little closer. Component 1, it is 8 sessions by 3 hours each. You will, in that time, participate in 3 triads, and you get to submit one 15-minute recording segment for written feedback from your facilitators. And at the end of that, there will be a multiple choice exam. So what happens in this component 1 is we discuss what coaching is. We look at coaching session language. We focus quite heavily on ICF core competencies. You will see ICF core competencies throughout all of our work. It might not always be said that it's a core competency, but everything that we do will be aligned with the core competencies of the ICF. You will look at coaching structures, how you set up a coaching structure. We'll start using questions for change. How do we ask questions? We'll be looking at practice within that class. You'll be doing triads or dyads, and that is to strengthen your muscle as a coach. And of course, we also give demonstrations within the class itself. So there's an opportunity to actually see what we're talking about in action, and that is so helpful. I know that so many people really take the opportunity to watch others and then do. I know that I'm much better at seeing a demonstration and then having a deeper understanding about how I can further impact my coaching practice.
Brad, can I just add one thing there for for
Yeah,
the
of course.
basic program? Yay.
Yeah.
So once you've actually completed this basic program, you're going to actually have the ability to go out into the world and start advertising yourself as a coach in training. And therefore, you are able to start gaining your 100 client hours that are required to be credentialed through the ICF.
Yes. After this component, as Susan said, you're set up to start flexing your muscle a bit more in coaching. So, and we're trying to work toward the 100 client hours, which can go remarkably quickly if you do actually exercise that opportunity. Thanks, Susan, for that. Component 2. Component 2 is where we step a bit deeper into the trauma-informed lens. So we learn to be a coach, then we move into the deeper pieces of it. So this component 2 is what is trauma-informed. We look at the brain-body system within trauma, how it operates. We look at coach-client regulation. We're not only talking about the client here all the time. We as coaches have to be regulated. We are also a nervous system. So we want to make sure that we are moving towards that kind of regulation. We talk a lot about neuroscience and different pieces of the work that we do. I love neuroscience. I'm a real nerd when it comes to it. I love the capacity that the brain has for us. I also think it's interesting that we know so little about it and so much. So I like the theories that come forward in neuroscience, and it is peppered not only throughout the course, but there will be some days that you'll walk away feeling way too full because there was so much information around that particular topic. We're looking at deeper trauma-informed awareness. And again, one of the things that I love about this class is that you're actually working with other students, and it's amazing how close you become. And we start looking at even deeper trauma-informed awareness through conversations that we have in class and through engagement. because our classes are set up as a real knowledge draw with all of our students involved. We don't know everything. We know that. And lots of people have experienced things that we don't know about or haven't even thought of. And so the richness of the class is when we get to share some of that within the constraints that the person wants to, about how they see trauma-informed awareness, how it impacts them, their family, their friends, the environments that they find themselves in. So we have a lot of dialogue around how that shows up, what we might do to better serve the people that we're coaching. Again, sorry about that. You'll see coaching practice triads and dyads within this component as well, and demonstrations to show you how to start working in a deeper atmosphere with the trauma informed. And this component too is 12 3-hour sessions. And you will participate in 4 triads. And when we say you're participating in triads, what that means is that you'll do a triad with fellow students. You'll go into a group with them. And what you're doing is you're playing coach for one part of it, client for one part of it, and observer for one part of it. And when you do that, you'll collect notes and come back and fill out a form that says, what did I notice? What would I have done differently? And what was really great. So you're really looking at the 3 avenues of being a coach: observation, client perspective, and how I am in my practice. And that's really helpful. So you'll fill out those triads. They're not taxing, but they are just checking in with yourself to think about, how am I progressing here? In component 2, you'll also submit 2 15-minute recordings for feedback. These are so valuable because what happens is the facilitators will then invite you to submit these recordings. And when you do, we take those 15 minutes, we review them, and we say, this was really great, and then an even better if. And we give you a few suggestions on how we can further improve what we're doing, but we also let you know what you're doing really well so that you know, okay, that step I have nailed, the next step I have to work at. And then again, you'll complete a multiple choice exam question. And I might mention here that both the exams are open book. So they're not high stress. They are really a review of what it is that you're doing. And there are questions at the end of each chapter in your manual that if you answer those, you should be able to move through the exam quite easily. And then when you have completed that, you move into this beautiful component 3. And component 3 is where we're really ensuring that the international coaching core competencies are being met. It's over a minimum of 3 months. That's a requirement from our international community. There are one group session, there's 3 of those per month. So 1 a month, I should say. 1 group session per month by 3 months. And those are 2 hours and 20 minutes. And then you have 3 individual sessions after a group begins, or after you're done the group, your choice. And what that is that you'll have the 3 group sessions, but you also have an opportunity to work with any of our mentors that you'll see on our website, and you'll be able to do one-on-one sessions with them. So you have 3 more hours of mentor coaching with the coach of your choice in our mentor section. What that does is that it allows you one-on-one time with a skilled mentor to be able to further execute your recordings to be fully accessible and to pass the ACC. At the end of all of this, you will submit a 20 to 60 minutes. So 20 is the minimum, 60 minutes is the maximum. You'll hear lots of people talk about the sweet spot, which people tend to say is the 30-minute mark. So if you're a little over, don't worry. If you're a little under 30, don't worry. People tend to think that's the sweet spot. We receive recordings that are 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 22 minutes, 25 minutes. So please understand that it's a range between 20 and 60. What we're looking for is your capability to support the ACC that you are working towards. Yeah. At that point, after you have successfully passed your ACC, so you've done your TICB, your TICA, and your mentoring, you then after you successfully submit and pass your ACC for designation, you will receive a level 1 certification, which is 106 coach hours, and it will then say trauma-informed coach certified level 1. And that means that you have satisfied all the requirements for your ACC designation. You've passed the recording that you've sent to us. Then you will submit that with 100 client hours to the ICF, and they will invite you to come and take the ICF knowledge exam. And it is a basic knowledge exam of coaching, which you will be learning from the time you start TICCB till the time you finish mentoring. And at that point, after you've successfully passed the knowledge exam, you will have a ACC credential delivered to you from the ICF. So you will receive a level 1 accreditation from us or certification from MTHS, acknowledging that you have succeeded in the ICF requirements. And then once you have the knowledge exam that is only delivered from the International Coaching Federation, they will send you your certificate. And your practice will be in full swing by then, I suspect, because you will already be collecting clients. And we have a few ways that we do that as well within our mentoring piece. A little bit about how level 1 is delivered. It's live facilitated sessions. It's very experiential learning, which what that means is dyads and triads, as well as the conversations that we have. Again, I can't say this enough. There is an integration of neuroscience, which is really great. I really like that. We also talk a lot about somatics and how we work with people, how we deal with different levels and nervous systems as they weave and ebb and flow in and out. We look at coaching competencies, and it's a supportive, confidential environment. We set up a container that is very supportive, but also confidential when we first start our classes, and that hopefully runs throughout the entire time that you're in a level 1. So why this program is distinct is because it was built by coaches for coaches. So we were coaches before we decided to move down this routine. There's a strong emphasis on scope and ethics. That's something that's incredibly important within the trauma-informed lens. We're adamant about it because we created the trauma-informed coaching, which was, again, the first that the ICF ever considered, and we jumped through all of the requirements. So for us, we're always committed to a very strong emphasis on ethics. We look at literacy on how we operate that nervous system. We're not just looking at theory. We also go into quite a lot of depth without completely overwhelming people. So it's a nice, even learning field. And when there are questions or if people feel like they may have missed something, we're always open to reiterating what has been learned or how they are learning it. It's also applicable across all coaching niches. Some people wonder if they come to this program, do I have to be a trauma-informed coach? If you come to this program and you become an ACC, you will be able to be a coach in any niche you choose. It just means that you will have a certain area or a certain ability to recognize trauma, work with trauma, and be in a space of moving people forward if they've had traumatic imprint. And I'd be hard pressed to think any of the clients that I saw or do see that don't know that I'm trauma informed. There's still a sign that comes up every time. So having this is a benefit to anyone that takes it. So who is this particular program designed for? It's for coaches, whether they're new or experienced. It's for leaders and HR professionals. Some people, HR has become, over the last 20 years, I've noticed a lot of HR people moving into the coaching realm, helping professionals transitioning into coaching. And anyone, so I think about some of the people that have come through our courses, psychologists, counselors, therapists, doctors. So they're people that are already in the helping profession and they're transitioning into a coaching lens within their work. And again, anyone working in high stress or complex environments. So there's lots of different avenues that we think about. It's important just to mention this. I have this fit check. This course is inappropriate for people that want to do this. For those who are seeking clinical trauma treatment skills, this is not the course for you. For those wanting trauma processing techniques, again, we're not going to work in that avenue. We work solely as the coaching realm and the trauma-informed lens. We do not do trauma processing. That is a therapeutic and a clinical approach that we don't undertake. Anyone uncomfortable with ethical boundaries. So if you find that you may be biased in some areas, then this may not be the course for you. We really want to have a space that is inviting, respectful, and that anyone can come play in our sandbox. So as coaches, we really feel that's important. So some of the details I wanted to share with you that maybe Nicole and Susan did already is that we have dates starting February the 9th, May 5th, May 11th. There is a variety of times for those starts. We have Monday to Thursday, 3 to 6, Tuesday and Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. All of these are in PST time. So, and we also have May the 11th, 4 to 7. So if you do the calculation or conversion with your time zone, you'll have an idea of whether or not any of these times would work for you. And as you can see, the duration will take anywhere from 6 to 9 months, depending on the course dates that you choose. We sometimes have one class a week, so that can run you into a span of 9 months. These particular courses would run you through 6 months. You then receive a TICC Level 1 certification, and that is 106 coach-specific training hours. And that is what you work or move forward after your ACC assessment by us that you present to the International Coaching Federation in order to get your certification as a coach. What people have told us they've experienced: a greater steadiness in their sessions, clearer professional identity, increased confidence in difficult moments. We need that even in just our lives, I think, now, not just in coaching. Better pacing and presence, and stronger client trust, which is really what we're working to do in coaching. We want to be able to support without re-traumatizing. We want to be able to support so the client is sustainable. I often tell my clients that I am here to get rid of you. I don't want to be with you for 10 years. I want you to be able to be with yourself and live a life that's more pleasing to you than having to come to me for answers. Because I know that they have everything that they need inside of them. We work as coaches to help them draw it out. And that's a really beautiful foundation for them to build. The confidence in who we are is so important for how we move forward in our lives and the choices that we make. Again, this is simply a reflection for you guys. If you feel called to coach with greater care, clarity, and confidence, this program may be the right foundation for you. And now what I'd like to do is you've had an opportunity to hear me continually talk. So I'm going to stop the bald guy and invite any questions that you may have for us. We have Nicole, we have Susan, and you have me at your disposal. So we invite any questions that might be outstanding for you for this particular program. And if you hang out until the end, we also have an offer. I think that we have for you a code to be able to offer you for any program. So any questions? Anything unclear, maybe is what I should say. Does it feel like everything that we covered is what it is that you were looking for, or did we miss anything in particular that you might want to ask? I could not have done it that well, did I?
Yeah, you are amazing, Brad. It's this was very thorough, and certainly types of conversations that Susan and I are having. So it's
Good.
awesome to have this support. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Michael,
Thank you. Michael, go ahead. If you just want to do audio, it's fine with me. I'm old. I can barely read.
Well, so am I. Um, Question for me is that I've had a long standing interest in getting into coaching. My current career is a freelance graphic designer, and I'm wondering if you have people that sort of navigate through two sort of career paths. Like, is this something that I could
I
be
can take
doing?
that question.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, Bradley, I think this is a question for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in graphic design for 25 years. And when I first went into it, as Susan would know, when we first started building our business, what I did was that I basically half and halved it. So I worked on my coaching practice, but I held my graphic design clients,
Hmm.
the ones I was comfortable with, the ones I had long-term relationships with. And so I always kind of knew that I wanted to get into this realm of working with people because,
Hmm.
in graphic design, there's a lot of people management.
Hmm.
So what I did is that I just used graphic design for my foundation until I was able, to get my practice to where I want it to be. And then I gradually discarded the clients that I had within the graphic design realm. And further to your question, which might be a question of other people too, is that I have noticed throughout my coaching career that so many people start and have a different, like they're what's the right word? It's not a well, maybe it's a crossover, but they're moving gently from one to the other. They want to get their coaching muscles built up. They want to move into the coaching realm. And so I've seen some people go full bore and just go, nope, that's what I'm doing. And they're confident in that and succeed. And then I've seen others that's like, well, I still want to do a little bit of this until I feel out this thing. And is it really what I want? And am I in the right space? Because I'm really good at this too. So I
Yeah,
don't know if that answered it, but that's how I felt about it.
No,
I
that's
can,
great.
yeah, I can also add on to that too as well, Brad. I mean, I sat on both sides of the fence for about 2 years. Actually, until I did a coaching session around it. And at the end of that weekend, I gave notice to my employer, and then everything changed. So I wasn't quite at the stage where I felt that coaching would be able to sustain me, payment wise and everything. But when I made that decision and walked away from the other course and, or not course, other job, then everything about coaching just kind of all filled in because I was creating space for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. Sorry, Nicole. Yeah.
Yeah, my path is a little bit different. I jumped into coaching sort of full on in 2005. And what I like to share with people is that the my coaching practice evolved with my life. So back then I was, in my early 30s and working full time as a coach. And then I had 3 children and I ebbed and flowed between full time and part time and was able to really move my career in a way that was very flexible for my lifestyle and for the stages of life that I was at as well. So that's another benefit in this field is you can set your capacity and you can move your niches as the seasons of your lives change as well. So there is that flexibility.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions? They can be text or audio. It's nice to hear your voice, but if you'd rather just text in the chat any questions, we're happy to answer those as well. No? Okay. Well, I'm going to honor everyone's time. We really want to thank you guys for being here. Um, Susan has shared a code here. If anyone is interested in, who's the oldest person?
I,
Oh, good, Michael.
yep, I can
Yeah.
say.
You guys
Nicole,
go ahead.
who's the oldest person you've worked with?
I worked with a 97-year-old woman who is a marathon runner, and she wanted to extend her running career past her 100th year. So that was she I think she impacted me profoundly with her vitality and strive in life to keep going and keep living. And yeah, it was really fun and really powerful.
Yeah, for me, it was an 82-year-old gentleman, and he was living in a seniors complex, and he realized that there was so much more that he would be able to do there, and so he became a coach.
Oh, interesting. That's a
Yep.
good one, Sue. Nice. Any other questions to satisfy?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that was a really good question. I've actually
What?
never been asked that question before.
I loved it.
So I want to just point out that you'll see on our website, if you want to go in and look at the syllabus of the work that you would be doing in a level one, it's traumainformedcoaching.com. I know that you guys, if you have come through the connection of with Susan and Nicole already, you'll already have some of that information. Again, I want to just reiterate Nicole, Susan at Moving Human Spirit, and the code for this particular what would I call it? This particular
Particular
talk.
offering.
Yeah, particular talk or offering that we're having today is level one or L1 200, and that is in Canadian dollars. So I don't know what's that now, US 450,
Yeah,
whatever the exchange rate is.
yeah. And that offer's good until Monday.
Okay. The youngest, Andrea, you guys want to go with the youngest? Yeah, my youngest was 13 as well. I tend not to do a lot of work with adolescents. I tend to coach people around it instead, unless I'm working in family systems work, then there'll be a
You help
family
the
group.
mom.
Yeah, Nicole, go ahead. What's that?
Then you help the moms of the teenagers.
Moms and dads and siblings.
Yeah. Um, also I do work with teenagers. I actually combine my equine assisted learning program with teenagers, and I use a lot of my coaching there and then bring in the horses as well. But there's a lot of discussion around confidentiality and boundaries with both the participants and the parents in that as well.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead,
It's
Phil.
really important when you're working with youth that the whole family dynamics is integrated into the conversation. So you want to make sure because whatever you're doing in the coaching sessions and stuff like that, that the parents are aware of what's going on. Not that you divulge information and everything and that, but I used to have open conversation like about every third or fourth session, where the parent was invited in and the child or the youth was able to kind of explain about what was they were doing and how their processing was and how it was supporting and helping and what the parent was doing. So it became a win-win scenario. And then I would also coach with the parent as well too.
Hmm, good. Yeah, and the other thing that you learn within the coaching realm is that you will also learn about how to work with stakeholders. And that's really what Susan and Nicole are talking about there. If it's someone that you're not coaching directly, but they might be supporting the coaching environment, what we're doing there is that that's really talked about as a stakeholder engagement. And you learn that within coaching. And Susan spent many years before her and I opened or started Moving the Human Spirit working with gifted children. So she's very well versed in that particular area.
And Susan, you have some experience coaching um, with people coming on board with ADHD as well. Is that not
Yep.
correct?
Yep. Yeah. My oldest son was ADHD. So when I talk about gifted and at-risk youth, that covered that whole spectrum.
Oh, any more questions that we may have? I want to honor everyone's time. And so all I can do is invite you to have a reflection. We are always here to help. My email is brad@movingthehumanspirit.com should you want to reach out to me. Otherwise, if you have questions about the course and sales, please by all means reach out to Nicole, reach out to Susan. They're there to assist and help. We will have this recording. I assume Ashley will put it up for us on some of our social media or websites so that people who may be interested can review it. Otherwise, I want to thank you all for giving us your time for an hour. Again, if you have any more questions, I can't tell you how much we are here to answer them. So please reach out. Otherwise, please have a fantastic rest of your day, and hopefully we will see you in a class.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.